Hi, in this video we're gonna see how we can use Alfred workflows to auto format your SQL queries while you're copy pasting from your SQL editor to a messaging tab, let's say. So let's say I have this query here which is pretty badly formatted. I have different cases and it's not correctly spaced as well. So let me give you a demo of what I'm talking about. So I copy this query, and let's say this particular tab is the message I'm sending to my boss. Okay, boss, I've created this amazing query that gets us this data which we can analyze on. So if I go here and press my shortcut key, it should auto format what I had there. So if I look at the query here, it's horribly formatted, but when I look at here, it's amazing formatted. So I'm not doing any trick. So it's basically, let me show you in the same tab. If I press my shortcut, it literally formats it then and there. Also, what you can do is you can select the query itself and then copy that using Command C and press the magic key, which in my case is Option S, and it formats the query in place. So I'm going to show you how to set this up in your MacBook. So you would need a MacBook, of course, and you would also need something called Alfred. So let me just quickly go to Safari and show you what Alfred is. So Alfred is this particular Spotlight-like app, which is amazing. And to use this particular feature, which is Alfred Workflows, you will need to get the Power Pack. But Alfred itself has amazing features, which you might find other videos about. And it's definitely one of the must-have apps if you have a Mac. So let's go to Power Pack. So it's £49 for lifetime upgrades of this app, which I've gotten recently, and I've found myself absolutely using it all the time, and it's definitely worth it. And let's go to the settings of the app. So Alfred preferences. This is the particular app I'm using to format SQL. It looks all mumble jumbled and it might look complicated, but it's not actually that complicated. So this particular workflow is created by a person called Emmanuel. It's not created by me. And if I go to the particular repository, so this is the particular person that created it, and it uses two things. It uses Node and Prettier. So Prettier is a formatting code formatter, but it only has support for these particular languages and flavors. It doesn't have support for SQL. So what I did was I added the SQL using a third-party SQL formatter. So let me just show you in the documentation what I used. If I can go all the way down, so I use something called Prettier plugin SQL. So if I go and Google Prettier plugin, so this is the formatter that I used. So we'll go through the steps of how to install the plugin itself and how to make changes to accommodate for using SQL formatting. So let's go to Alfred preferences and delete this plugin first of all and start from scratch. So if I delete this, it's gone. So I can't use the plugin anymore. It won't work for formatting. You have to trust me on that. So let's go back to Safari. The first thing you have to do is go to the particular GitHub page, go to the releases, and download the first thing here, which is the latest version. And once you have that, you can search it using Alfred or Spotlight, but I would recommend install Alfred, which is just as similar to installing any other app, and type Prettier Clipboard and press enter. So it will show you this tab. Okay, import it. And if you go back to the particular GitHub page of this particular workflow, it says in installation you need to have Node and you need to have Prettier. So let's open item and make sure they are there. So all you have to do is you have to do brew install Prettier and brew install Node to get both of them downloaded. I won't do this because I already have it in my system. And let's go back to the installation page and see what else is there. So download. Okay, we've done this. Double click. We have already done this. Double click is equivalent to just typing it and entering it. And yeah, so it's pretty much done. So if we go back to Alfred preferences, and now we have the Prettier clipboard here. So let's just see what this is doing. So it's saying hotkey So what is a hotkey? Hotkey is something that you press to initiate the workflow. So here, for example, I do command space and I do Prettier. So it's actually initiating that particular workflow if I press enter. When I press enter, it's giving me all these options. These are the languages, flavors it already comes with. And let's say I select JSON and press enter. It's giving me some error because obviously the things I've copied in my clipboard is not JSON. And what it does is when I press enter, select the language, it goes and runs the script, which is format.sh with the first thing I pass. So what we do is we click here, which is the white button, and it takes us to the place where the files are stored for this particular workflow. And I'll use a shortcut which will open this in my item, which is another workflow which I won't show you in this video, but it works like magic. If I do a quick ls, I get all the files here, and if I go to format.sh, you'll see what it's doing. So it's taking the item in the clipboard and passing it to Prettier and using the parser for the particular language specify and getting the formatted version. And if we go to the JSON file, not JSON, JavaScript file, so these are all the flavors that are available. If you see SQL is not there, we need to add SQL to it, and we need to make changes to this file and the format.sh files to get things working. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that by using the fork of the repository that I have made. So first of all, let's clone this repository and go to item, and let's go here and do a git clone of that repository. And okay, it's done. And I have similar files, but I have some changes here. Let me just open that file and format.sh. So here you can see, first of all, let me just open that JavaScript file. The only thing I've added here is SQL to specify. I have also added a support for SQL, and also if I go to format.sh, I have a couple of lines here added. I'm saying if the argument that is being passed is SQL, I'll use a different formatter, which is npx Prettier parse SQL, and use uppercase as well. And what I have to do is copy these two files to the directory that we have the workflow in. So basically, let's do a pwd and do a cp of format.sh and one more. What was the file name? lsparsage.js. Now I have those files here. Now if I trigger the workflow using Prettier, I will get the option of SQL, but it still won't work because I don't have one thing installed. It will work in mine because I have it installed, but I'll show you what it is. So I'm not sure if I have mentioned it in the video already. I also have to install this particular thing, which is formatter for SQL. So if I go to item and simply run this, it will install. It needs to have npm. It will install the particular library, and I've already have had it installed, so I don't need to run it. And after you did that, we can test it out. So now we have our SQL formatter set up. Let's unformat this a bit. Let's do this and change the case here, and yeah, that's about it. I think change it a bit here as well, and do the same thing. Select this, copy this, and press Prettier and SQL and see what happens. Oh, voila, it formatted. But you see there's a lot of steps going on here. I have to do select, copy, find Prettier, find SQL, press enter. If I can streamline that part, it will be great if I use this daily. So let's go to Alfred preferences. So we can set up a hotkey to format our SQL files. So let's copy this particular hotkey and let's assign it to option S. And we know that we need format.sh and SQL if it's SQL file that's need to be formatted. So we can do that as well. So we can trigger the workflow using command option S, run this bash file with the argument SQL and direct it to have the same effect. Let's save this. So now if I go back to my SQL and select this, copy this, press option C, it should format it. It's not the fastest, but it works great.